Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. Yesterday I had made a video about the placement of the Lagna Lord of the D9 chart when placed in the D1 chart, how it will brings about different possibilities, what manifestations it can bring to your life and what possibilities it may create. Now we also delved deeply into what the D9 horoscope means, the ascendant means and the Lagna Lord means. So I am not going to go deep into that again. It's better if you watch that video because this is, you can say, a second part to that video of the placement of the D9 Lagna Lord in the D1 chart. So today we are going to talk about the placement of the D9 Lagna Lord in the 12 houses in the D1. Now just to establish or to recall from yesterday's video, we talked about that the D1 chart is more about possibilities, whereas the D9 chart is more about probabilities, how certain things are more probable for you when you look at the D9 chart. However, the D9 chart will make things probable even in a negative manner for you, and it is for you to be able to utilize the possibilities that the D1 chart is giving you in line, in lieu, in partnership with the placement of the D9 chart Lagna Lord in the D9 itself, and then see them together. So to see them together, it is best to see the placement of the D9 Lagna Lord in different houses in the D1 but connected to the Lagna Lord of the D1 chart, because now you are trying to connect probabilities which the D9 chart is giving to the possibilities of the D1 chart. So without looking in the possibilities which the D1 chart is giving you, where it is making it possible to get higher success for you, if you are only relying on the D9 chart, then you will be misled. You will go what is being given to you, whether you like it or not, rather than looking at what is being offered to you of the D1 chart. So let's jump right into understanding how you can combine the possibilities of the D1 chart, the Lagna chart, with the probabilities of the D9 chart, and then bring about greater chance of success, greater chance of being able to do much better in life rather than only relying on the D1 chart or only relying on the D9 chart. But before we go on, a request to you that if you are somebody who regularly watches my channel, or even if you are here for the first time, but if you feel that my channel adds value, helps you answer some questions, and this particular video also has helped you in any manner, then please help YouTube also promote these videos further, promote this channel further, so that others can also be helped, and through that earn some good karma for yourself, because good karma always helps in better success in your current life. So why let go of that opportunity? Now coming to the placement of the D9 Lagna Lord in the 12 houses within the D1, let's jump to the first house first. Now when the Lagna Lord of the D9 chart is placed in the first house of the D1 chart, what does this mean? It means that the D9 Lagna Lord is making more probable success in your life, in your reputation, in your status in life, in your stature in society, in how you think, how you are able to achieve the purpose of your life, how you are able to gain overall success of your life, because the Lord of more probability has gone into the Lagna. However, you need to see where the higher possibility is to make that probability a success, and that's why you need to check where your Lagna Lord of the D1 chart is placed. So for example, if the Lagna Lord of your D1 chart is placed in the 10th house, that means through your career, through your work, through your relation. Why relation? What is the D9 chart? The D9 chart, I have said this in many videos, is about your connections, is about your partnership, is about your relationship. And so what kind of partnership you are able to establish at work, because the D1 Lagna Lord is placed in the 10th house. So what partnerships you are able to make at work, what connections you are able to make at work, and what relationships you are able to establish at work with your seniors, with the higher ups, with authority figures and the team members. Through that, the D9 chart's placement of its Lagna Lord in the first house will help you to get a stature in life, to get higher status in life, to be able to be more respected and to grow higher both in your career and also in the material manifestation. You will be seen as a person who is respectable. You will be seen as a person of higher stature, higher designation, high authority as well. So connections between the probability that the D9 charts Lagna Lord gives you in the Lagna versus the 10th house placement of the Lagna Lord of the D1 chart is important. So see the connection of where the Lagna Lord of the D1 is placed and connect that with the Lagna Lords of the D9 charts placement in the first house. Through that connection, more probability, more success in your growth, in your material enhancement will come to you. Now when the D9 Lagna Lord goes into the second house of the D1 chart, what does this mean? It means that through connections, through relationships, through partnerships, you will be able to get more nourishment. You will be able to do better in your livelihood. You will be able to enhance your earnings also. But connected to the Lagna Lord of the D1 charts placement within the D1. So if the D1 Lagna Lord is going into the 6th house, this means that how you are coming across at your service, in your career, in your work, and in your work, in your service, if you are able to establish strong connections, because the D9 Lagna is about connections, the Navmansh is about connections, about relationship. So if you are able to establish strong connections in your service, in your work area, then you will also be able to enhance your ability to earn higher. There is a higher probability of getting higher success at work, in your earning, in your livelihood, and in the nourishment that life will give you if the D9 Lagna Lord has gone into the second house of the D1 chart and the D1 Lagna Lord is in the 6th house in the D1 chart. So when you connect them, you will see that there is higher probability through connections at your service, at your work, and through that you will be able to enhance higher earning, higher livelihood also, through nourishment also. So serving others, for example, if you want to place a career here, so serving others through nourishment, where you are providing some succor, you are providing food, or you are in the food business, you are in the family business, or serving others in some manner that they earn a better livelihood. So through those connections, higher probability of higher earning, higher livelihood is coming to you because of the D9 Lagna Lord's placement in the second house. Now when the D9 Lagna Lord has gone into the third house in the D1 chart, what does this mean? It means higher probability, higher success will come to you when you are able to establish connections, partnerships and relationships through your communication, through how you are able to influence others, how you are able to brand yourself, how you come across to the external world, especially through emails or through social media or through an online connection or any media that it is possible for you, where you are able to establish your presence, then you will get greater success. But where is the higher possibility coming from? From wherever the Lagna Lord of the D1 chart is placed within the D1 chart. Say now the Lagna Lord of the D1 chart has gone into the 9th house. What does this mean? This means that you will be able to do better if you are able to utilize your education, your higher learning, which the 9th house represents by virtue of your Lagna Lord of the D1 chart going into the 9th house, and you will be able to utilize your education better, and through your education, through your higher learning, through establishing connection, you will also be able to brand yourself well, you will also be able to sell yourself well, you will also be able to do better in your work area, on the social media, as an entrepreneur, doing something of your own, in self-enterprise, in sales, in marketing. So utilize your education to your advantage, utilize your learning, utilize your high experiences which the 9th house represents, to be able to communicate, to be able to utilize, to be able to influence others. And so when you utilize your education or your high experiences in an arena where it is helping you to be able to sell something better, or represent that area better, or do projects on that area better, deal with other department people better through connection, through relationship, then higher success will come to you. There is higher probability of success there. And so try and establish a connection between the D9 Lagna Lord's placement in the D1 chart. Say here we are talking about the third house versus the D1 Lagna Lord's placement within the D1 chart, and see how they are being connected to each other, and how through the connection higher possibility and higher probability are coming together. Now when the D9 Lagna Lord goes into the 4th house in the D1 chart, what does this mean? It means that you have a greater success in the matters of home, in the matters of domestic life, in the matters of more harmony at home, more peace in your mind, more happiness in your life, ability to make greater assets through connections, through partnerships, through relationships, which the D9 Lagna represents, the Navmansh chart represents. But that higher probability is coming from the placement of the Lagna Lord of the D1 in one of the 12 houses, because now we are talking about the D9 Lagna Lord placement in the D1 chart. So see where the D1 Lagna Lord is placed in which house. If the D1 Lagna Lord, for example, is gone into the 5th house, what is the 5th house? The 5th house is house of children. The 5th house is also the house of speculative investments, also taking risks, maybe taking risks even in your job, changing of your job. So the D9 Lagna Lord's placement in the 4th house is telling you that if you take higher risks in the matters of the 5th house, of course with due diligence, but you don't hesitate to make a change in your career, in a job, even to travel, to move out of your comfort zone or make investments in assets, then there is higher probability of success to be able to make assets, and higher probability that you will also be able to give a comfortable life, a decent life, maybe even a luxurious life to your family and to yourself also, because you are connecting the higher probability that the D9 Lagna Lord is bringing in by being placed in the 4th house of assets to the 5th house of risk taking, speculative investments, changes, handling and dealing with changes, even changes with respect to job, because the 5th house and the 8th house to the 10th house. So see the connection between if your D9 Lagna Lord is placed in the 4th house to where the Lagna Lord of the D1 chart is placed, and through that connection to be able to make where there is higher probability of success in that area where it is more possible. Now when the D9 Lagna Lord is gone into the 5th house in the D1 chart, what does it say? It says there is higher probability, because now the Navmansh horoscope, which gives higher probability, its Lagna Lord has come into the 5th house, which means there is higher probability of success in the matters of the 5th house. What is the 5th house? The house of speculative investments, the house of artistic enterprises, artistic actions, artistic expression, but through which area? It is connected to where your Lagna Lord of the D1 chart is placed in which house. Now say for example the D1 Lagna Lord is placed in the 11th house of the D1 chart. It means there is higher success in matters of working for large organization, in matters of working for large causes, in matters of being connected to higher social network, and through your social connection, through working in large organization or working for large causes, or ability to get your wishes and desires fulfilled, the higher probability of that is coming from the 5th house where the D9 Lagna Lord is placed. Why this high probability is coming from the 5th house? Because the D9 chart is more about higher probability. So if you are able to take more risks connected to the expression of the 11th house, where you take higher risks or you don't fear change of changing your job, changing where you're working, trying harder to work in a cause which you believe in, or working in a large organization, or artistic expression. The 11th house is also the house of fulfillment of wishes and desires, whereas the 5th house is the house of artistic expressions. So if you want to be somebody who wants to take your artistic expression outside, to the outside world, to the society of large, then the placement of the D9 Lagna Lord in the 5th house of the D1 chart is telling you there is higher probability, higher chances of success. If you do that connected to the 11th house of social expression, social causes, working with large audiences or working in front of large audiences, then there is higher chance of success. So connect the placement of the D9 Lagna Lord in the 5th house, if you have the placement, to wherever your Lagna Lord of the D1 chart is placed. Through the connection, be able to see where there is higher probability of success, where the possibility is shown through to you by the Lagna Lord's placement of the D1 Lagna Lord's placement in any of the 12 houses. Now when the D9 Lagna Lord goes into the 6th house on the D1 chart, what does it mean? It means that there is higher probability of success coming to you through ability to serve and through connections, through relationships, through partnerships, which the D9 chart, the Navmansh chart represents. The Navmansh chart I have told many times, it's all about connections, then partnerships and then relationships. But where is the probability giving you higher success in? In that area where the Lagna Lord of the D1 is making more possible by virtue of where it is placed in the D1 chart. Say the Lagna Lord of the D1 chart is placed in the Lagna itself. Now what does this mean? It means that the higher chance of success in your purpose of life, finding more meaning in life, ability to attain a certain status in life, certain stature in life, being respected, being somebody who's sought after, being somebody who people are respecting, liking, adoring, and through that you're also somebody who will rise in life, will get success, all round success in various areas of life. But you will get that through the higher probability of the 6th house, which the D9 Lagna Lord's placement is saying. So if you have a mindset of serving others through connections, through partnership, through relationship, so wherever you're serving, whichever career you're serving, or if you're serving a cause, establish connections, establish relationships, establish partnerships, be ready to give more, be ready to be able to overcome the resistance of the 6th house, and through that you will be able to enhance your stature, your success in all round development, in your respect in society, in how society sees you, and gives you higher growth in many areas, overall areas of your life. And that's how you should see the connection of the higher probability which the Lagna Lord of the D9 chart is giving you in the matters of service when the Lagna Lord of the D1 chart is placed in the 1st house. So wherever your Lagna Lord of your D1 chart is placed, while your D9 Lagna Lord is placed in the 6th house, establish the connection between them and see where there is higher possibility and higher probability of success through that connection. Now when the D9 Lagna Lord goes into the 7th house of the D1 chart, what does this mean? It means that the zodiac is giving you higher probability of success through connection, through partnerships, which the 7th house represents, and through balance, which means how much you want to get success for yourself should be in balance with what you are ready to give, how much you are able to contribute, how much you are also able to put in a partnership, the work, the commitment, the long hour, the hard work that you're ready to put into the relationship, into the partnership. This also establishes a strong partnership with your spouse itself, or with a close friend, or with a close family member, or with a close acquaintance, and through that partnership, when the partnership grows, you also get success. But in which area? That area has to be connected to where the D1 Lagna Lord is placed. Now say the D1 Lagna Lord has gone into the 11th house of your D1 chart. So now this is a very strong partnership, success through partnership in areas of business, in areas of self-enterprise. 11th house is the house of getting higher success in something that you wish and desire, more societal success. This can also come through business, because now the 7th house is getting connected to the 11th house by virtue of the D9 Lagna Lord going into the 7th house of partnerships, even business, getting connected to the 11th house of gains through social success that comes through when you are able to offer your goods, your services to a large audience. So to strong partnerships which you establish with the social network because of your D9 Lagna Lord going into the 7th house, and through that connection you can do very well in business, in self-enterprise, or in a team environment, or in a team project. When you are strongly connecting, strongly working in a partnership, and with the vision of working in a partnership, and with a balance of what you give to others, what you want to do for others, and what you want for yourself, then there is higher probability of success in the possibility which the D1 Lagna Lord is giving to you through societal connections, societal success, societal enhancement as well. So see how those connections established, which signs are involved, which planets are involved, and through that connection you will be able to get higher success through partnership, through relationship, through strong connection. But through the biggest meaning of this is through greater balance, which the 7th house represents. Now when the D9 Lagna Lord goes into the 8th house of the D1 chart, it means there is higher probability of success when you are able to overcome the challenges, the obstacles, issues related to the 8th house, related to the obstacles of the 8th house, related to the areas of the 8th house, whether it is taxation, insurance, joint properties, dealing with those things which are underground or all virtual media, other people's wealth, wealth management, IT, research, all of these areas of the 8th house. But where is the higher possibility coming from? The higher possibility is coming from where the D1 Lagna Lord is placed. Now say if the D1 Lagna Lord is placed in the 12th house of the D1 house of the D1 chart, this means that you have higher probability of success in foreign lands. When you work in foreign companies, when you work with foreign clients, when you work with MNCs, multinational corporations, or you have higher chance of success when you overcome obstacles of going to foreign lands or working for the armed forces, working for the health sector, or overcoming that chance or overcoming that competition which is hidden, working behind your back, and that is creating obstacles of the 8th house. This also means that when you work alone, when you work in solitude, then you have a higher chance of overcoming obstacles rather than in a team. Or even if you are working in a team, whatever may be the result of the teamwork, you will be held responsible for your work. So the biggest obstacle as well as an opportunity of higher success will come to you when you work alone, or you work in armed forces, or you work in medical field, or when you go abroad, or when you work for external clients, or you work in MNCs. Somewhere your work should be connected to being away from the place of your birth, or working alone, or in these areas, and overcoming obstacles, overcoming challenges also, which the 8th house represents through partnership, through connections, which means the greatest success that you will get in doing work connected to the 12th house will be when you overcome obstacles through connections that you establish. So your connections will come to your rescue. Your relationships will be able to help you to be able to overcome those challenges and even go abroad, or your connections abroad in a foreign company or in an MNC will help you overcome obstacles of growth, overcome obstacles of getting higher income, higher livelihood, and through those partnerships you will be able to do better in the field of IT, taxation, wealth management, virtual money, IT, and connected to projects where you work alone, or in foreign lands, or in armed services, or in health sector also. So see how the D9 Lagna Lord's placement in the 8th house is getting connected to where your Lagna Lord for D1 is placed, and through the connection be able to establish a higher possibility with a higher probability of the Navmansh Lagna Lord. Now when the D9 Lagna Lord goes into the 9th house of your D1 chart, what does this mean? It means there is higher probability of success coming from your education, coming from your higher learning, coming from your ability to learn from your experiences, but through establishing connections, through establishing relationships, through establishing partnerships, which the D9 chart represents, which the Navmansh chart represents. But in which area? In that area where the D1 Lagna Lord is placed. Now say the D1 Lagna Lord is placed in the 12th house, then it means that you will be able to get higher success when you study abroad, when you go for a long distance travel, or you get acquainted to, or you get aligned to a higher degree outside of the city of your birth, maybe outside of the land of your birth or country of your birth. When you travel far away from your place of birth for education, then you will be able to do better. Or if you are getting connected to people outside of your culture, outside of your country, then there is a higher chance of success, higher probability of your success. When we are looking at the D9 Lagna Lord's placement in the D1 chart, here we are talking about probability, not the possibilities which the D1 Lagna Lord is bringing. So here there is higher probability of success through education, because the D9 Lagna Lord is in the 9th house, but education in foreign lands, or traveling to foreign lands, working with foreign clients, working with foreign companies also. So if your D9 Lagna Lord is placed in the 9th house, be ready for some hard experiences which life will also throw at you. Be ready to slog it to get higher degrees also. But when you are able to do that, then higher possibility of success will also come to you. So see if your D9 Lagna Lord is placed in the 9th house, where your D1 Lagna Lord is placed, and through those connections the zodiac is offering you higher probability of success through that placement. Now when the D9 Lagna Lord goes into the 10th house of your D1 chart. What does this mean? It means there is higher probability of success coming through your career, coming through your karma, coming through your work, coming through establishing relationship with superiors, with authority figures at work, doing better at work, getting higher designation, getting higher leadership position. But from which area? From that area where the D1 Lagna Lord is placed. Now say the D1 Lagna Lord is placed in the third house of the D1 chart. Now it means that through communication skills, through how you brand yourself, how you market yourself, how you are able to influence others, how you work on your communication, through relationships, which the D9 Navmansh chart represents, the D9 Lagna Lord represents, because the Navmansh is about relationships, about connections, about partnerships. And only when you are able to establish a better communication, better branding, only through relationships, through those connections, you will also be able to sell others better. You will be able to influence others better. You may also be able to do very well with the superiors at work, establish a good rapport with them when you work on your ability to communicate better. But that communication success will come to you only when your reputation outside is as somebody who believes in working together in a team, who is not hogging the limelight, who is ready to share the limelight with others. Then the team also favors you, and the team will also recommend you to the seniors, which the 10th house represents, and through that you may also get higher success. So wherever your D9 Lagna Lord is placed in the D1 chart, here we are talking about the 10th house placement of the D9 Lagna Lord. See where your D1 Lagna Lord is placed, and through that see how the connection is bringing about greater success in that area, allowing you to be able to elevate yourself further. Now if the D9 Lagna Lord is placed in the 11th house of the D1 chart, what does this mean? It means that greater probability of success is coming to you in a social environment, connected to a social network, connected to large audiences, connected to the larger world, connected to higher organization, larger organization, to large masses, through connections, through partnerships, through relationships, which the D9 chart represents, which the Navmansh chart represents. But from which area? This is coming from the area where the D1 Lagna Lord is placed. Now say the D1 Lagna Lord is placed in the 5th house of your D1 chart. This means that higher probability of success connected to large audiences comes from the areas of the 5th house, because the D1 Lagna Lord is placed in the 5th house. What is the 5th house about? The 5th house is about finance, accounts, speculative actions, taking risks in your job, not hesitating to change the job when opportunity comes, actively looking for a change, opportunity coming your way, not hesitating for power and influence, also not hesitating to make the change when it may come, because the 5th house lies 8th to the 10th house. So there may be upheavals, there may be changes also in your career, but not getting scared, but trying to use the opportunities which the 11th house connections, the social connections is bringing to you, using that to success. Which means that if the upheavals of your career is coming, then the connection that you've established with your social network, with your friend circle, with your acquaintances, that will increase the probability of success, for change of job, for elevation in your career, for growth in your career, to be able to establish yourself better at work through the social connection with the D9 Lagna Lord is giving you by virtue being placed in the 11th house. This is also getting you connected to large social success, even to the artistic media, through the artistic expressions, because the D1 Lagna Lord has gone into the 5th house of artistic expression or speculative action, or even business that you may be able to do, connected to the or the social causes that you work with of the 11th house. So if your D9 Lagna Lord is placed in the 11th house of your D1 chart, see where your D1 Lagna Lord is placed, and then connect them together and see where is the higher probability of success coming to you through the possibility which the D1 Lagna Lord is giving you. Now if your D9 Lagna Lord is placed in the 12th house of the D1 chart, it shows that there is higher probability of success which is coming through you, through partnership, through connections that you establish through the areas of the 12th house. This is also spiritual placement of the D9 Lagna Lord of the 12th house, which means that higher chance of success will also come to you when you put a quite tight lid on your expenses, but are ready to work harder, ready to serve more, ready to give more, even donate more, become more charitable. This is not only about charity to an NGO, but also being charitable in your relations, charitable through your associations, charitable to people at work, charitable to the organization, which means thinking of others first before you think about yourself. And where will be the higher success will come from? From where the D1 Lagna Lord is placed. Now say the D1 Lagna Lord is placed in the 7th house of the D1 chart, which means higher success will come to you in the matters of the 7th house, where through partnerships, working with the team, working on projects with team, working on some action or some orientation with the team, in a partnership, through connection, through a relationship, you will get higher success, where you will be able to put a stoppage to the losses. You will be able to do better in foreign lands through foreign connection. Maybe even find a spouse in your foreign land, because here the D9 Lagna Lord is getting connected through the 7th house to the 12th house, because of the D1 Lagna Lord placed in the 7th house and the D9 Lagna Lord placed on the 12th house of the D1 chart. This can also give you higher success, not only through foreign lands or foreign connections or MNCs or finding a foreign spouse, but also through large social organizations, large charitable organizations as well, and finding more spiritual meaning, being able to do more, to leave a strong legacy behind, to do better both in this world and also in the nether world, in the next real. So there is higher probability of salvation, higher probability of even moksha, higher probability of your spiritual elevation coming from where you are contributing most, where your D1 Lagna Lord is placed in the 12th house. So if your D9 Lagna Lord is placed in the 12th house of your D1 chart, see where your D1 Lagna Lord is placed, and through the connection find there is greater possibility of success, where the D9 chart is giving you through greater probability in that area. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me at the links given below. Till some other time with some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.